Good morning, I'm Chef Michelle Bernstein, and I'm giving you recipes for the dedicated life decision of being a vegan. But my recipes are not just grazing in a garden, they have flavor and satisfaction. So join me today for plant-based menus here on SoFlo Taste. I'm so excited. Good morning, y'all. I'm Chef Michelle Bernstein, and welcome to the Goya Kitchen Infused Specialty Appliances, a premier partner of Sub-Zero Wolf and Cove Showroom Miami. Welcome to SoFlo Taste. Are you a meat eater, a pescatarian, a poultarian, a vegetarian, a lacto-ovo-vegetarian, or a full-fledged vegan? Well, as you can see, there are many different terms for diets, as there are so many people to follow them. And today, I'm all about vegans. A vegan is described as a person abstaining from the use of animal products, so I thought it would be fun to give you some recipes that are vegan, but still have lots of flavor and satisfaction. So let's get cooking. All right, so we've got this gorgeous chickpea pasta, which is awesome because it's just made of chickpeas. Dinosaur kale that has been snipped from my garden, and we are gonna start with a little olive oil. I'm going to give this a pack more of protein by using some white beans in it and making it delicious. So I'm gonna start by cooking some shallots. These are minced shallots, nice and finely chopped. And I love when garlic is a little bigger, so we've sliced the garlic instead of mincing it. A pinch of red crushed chili flake. One thing I never understood is why can't vegans and vegetarians, and everybody really, have as much flavor as those that enjoy animal products? Well, I don't think it's true. I think vegans can put as much flavor, or even more in fact, into their foods than everyone else. And I love it. I crave this way of eating often, probably more often than not, and I find that it just makes me feel better. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and season this up already with a nice amount of salt and a little bit of pepper so that our base already has delicious flavor. I'm gonna go ahead and raise the heat just a bit and add the white beans. So you can cook your white beans like this, or you can obviously purchase any bean, or even lentils would be delicious in this too. I love combining different beans together, and I think a lentil with a chickpea pasta would be also really yummy. You know, Milam's Markets wants you to enjoy some of their vegan options around the store: baked cookies, cakes, and prepared foods, even meat and dairy alternatives. Milam's is committed to serving all diet preferences. Visit any of the 6 Milam's Markets or at milamsmarkets.com. Milam's Markets, SoFlo's grocery store. Experience the difference. All right, so now that the beans have really kind of absorbed the shallot, chili, and garlic, so this is the water that I cooked the chickpea pasta in, and I love to keep it and use it to thicken the sauce. It's nice and starchy, so the next time you drain your chickpeas, think about maybe saving some of that liquid, because it's really wonderful in helping a lot of great vegan recipes, or really any recipes. All right, so that liquid is reducing. I'm gonna add a little bit of fancy extra virgin olive oil to this now. Now I'll start adding some pasta, and I like there to be a little more of the other ingredients than the pasta. So for crunchy topping, because I love crunchy toppings, I actually toasted some panko breadcrumbs, which are naturally vegan, in a little bit of olive oil to get them nice and golden, and that'll be a lovely topping for our dish. I also have a little bit of parsley and fresh oregano, which is just delicious. And let's add a little bit of lemon zest and lemon juice to this dish as well. I love the flavor that's balanced with the chilies and the garlic and the lemon and the olive oil. Just so good. Let's go ahead and add our kale. A nice amount of it. That'll start heating up in there. Our herbs. Lovely. And we're gonna finish it off with 2 things. We're gonna add, I think the juice of just half of a lemon is enough for this one. And I've got a little bit of nutritional yeast that I love because it kind of takes on the flavor of like a Parmesan. It has that kind of nuttiness to it. So just a touch of nutritional yeast in here too for flavor. Mix this up, come right back, and I'm gonna go ahead and spoon this into a bowl, top it with our crunchy panko, and then just a little brush of more olive oil for goodness, and maybe a twist of some black pepper. Okay, everybody, come right back for more from the Goya Kitchen & Fuse Specialty Appliances, a premier partner of Sub-Zero, Wolf & Cove Showroom Miami. Be back in a bit.
Come back to SoFlo Taste from the Goya Kitchen here on Local 10.
Welcome back to SoFlo Taste in this great location with amazing appliances. For more than 80 years, these appliances have been the refrigeration, cooking, and dishwashing specialists and are found in fabulous homes. Their on-site professionals are dedicated to help you create a functional, flexible, and fabulous kitchen. This showroom's located at 2644 Southwest 28th Lane, Miami. Or you can always go to FuseSpecialtyAppliances.com. Now back to using these appliances and preparing the food. All right, everyone, check it out. This turned out so delicious. I think, just the lemon and the saltiness and the breadcrumb was like the piece de resistance on top. It's just so good. It all really combines together beautifully. All right, next dish. I'm gonna make you some creamy polenta with a mushroom ragu. To make polenta, I already have a little bit of water in here. I'm gonna add some vegetable broth or vegetable stock. Add that in. And once that gets really nice and hot, which it probably already is because I started out so hot, go ahead and start whisking in your polenta. You want to not pour it in there all at once because then you'll get a big clump. You want to literally just go little by little, very gently into the hot liquid, very, very softly. And there we have it. So what that does is allow it to just come together slowly. So this is boiling. Let's bring it down to a simmer. I'm going to go ahead and cover. And I have finished polenta that I made exactly the same way right here. Take a look at what that looks like. It's beautifully creamy. Doesn't have any flavor yet. The only flavor it has takes on, obviously, the vegetable broth, which is delicious, but we're going to do more, of course. Right here, I'm caramelizing for the mushroom ragu some beautiful pearl onions that I cut in half, caramelizing in some olive oil. To that, I'll add a little bit of minced garlic and any kind of mushrooms that you love. I love having a nice mix. Sometimes I go with a more kind of sturdy, less expensive mushroom, and I combine it with a more hearty, fun, creative, kind of chefy, more expensive mushroom. We're gonna go ahead and sear that right now with the onion and the garlic. And then we'll add a little bit of dry sherry. I'm gonna add that in now. Some fresh thyme leaves. Mushrooms are porous, right? So they're like a sponge. You have to give it a good amount of seasoning or it really will not have as much flavor or barely any. So I'm gonna add a really good amount of kosher salt and pepper and let those be happy. Let's go ahead and flavor our polenta. So what I decided to do for the polenta is make a little bit of miso butter. And the reason why I'm using air quotes on the butter is because it's not the true thought of butter, it is vegan butter. So here I have some vegan butter. And here I have some miso. This is white miso. I like the more gentle white miso for this dish. So I'm gonna add a little bit of white miso into the butter, the vegan butter, and go ahead and just mix it up together. And this is gonna give a beautiful flavoring to, and creaminess of course, to our polenta. Okay, so let's go ahead and uncover the polenta. Add the miso vegan butter into it. And I keep calling it vegan butter because I don't want those of you that got excited about the idea that this is a vegan show that I'm not following the rules. I'm really trying super hard and I'm really following every rule from that I know of, unless you guys are going to tell me I'm wrong. I love vegan butter. I think it's delicious. I think it's so useful for those of us that need a bit of creaminess in our lives. So whip this in really good. Let's taste it, see if it needs anything else. I would imagine that this is going to need a little salt. Oh, that's yummy. I don't know if it, maybe a touch, just a little bit of salt and a little pepper. It's really good though, and it's really creamy. And the fact that it's so creamy without cream is so great, right? And without dairy butter. Let's go ahead and check this one out. So remember, I told you, every once in a while, go ahead and stir. Now, to be honest with you, I like to switch out to a spoon or a rubber spatula at this point in my polenta making. So this is the last time you'll see me using a whisk, making sure that nothing's sticking to the bottom. Cover it, and then from here on out, I would use a rubber spatula or a wooden spoon to keep stirring that every 10 minutes. So for our mushrooms, we're getting a nice color. The onions are fully cooked and caramelized. The mushrooms just have to evaporate all of their amazing liquid that comes out of them to get a good crisp mushroom, because we don't want this to be mushy and this to be mushy. We want that to be the creamy mushy, and we want this to be the texture, which it will be as soon as you come back from commercial. So come right back. I've got more. I've got another amazing vegan recipe I can't wait to learn with you. And then, of course, we'll see how this gorgeous creamy polenta with mushroom ragu came out. See you in a few. SoFlo Taste will return right after this.
It's a Milam's Markets Minute. Here's Melinda Harper.
Christy, one of my favorite things in a grocery store are free things, but probably not what other people are thinking, what you're thinking out there. Gluten-free items.
Right, gluten-free. So we have gluten-free basically every aisle of the store, every department. And we went ahead and put a little selection of what we have here.
This is a lot, right?
Yes.
And there's much more.
A delicious one is this local brand, Almaty.
Okay.
They make delicious little cookies and cakes full of flavor. And then, of course, you have pasta, bread, crackers. So to make it easier, on all the tags around of our store, we put little gluten-free logos on them. So you can just look for the blue gluten-free, and then you know that you don't have to search the package for the logo.
Back in the day, people would think, oh, gluten-free, not so good, but it is delicious,
It is.
and it's good for you. Christy, this is an impressive selection of gluten-free items.
Well, if you're looking for a high quality, large selection of gluten-free items, you can stop by one of our 6 stores in South Florida or order online at milamsmarkets.com.
Come on into the store. The selection is amazing.
Welcome back to SoFlo Taste. Today's recipes, along with all others, are available on the SoFlo Shows webpage. Just scan this quick response code for the informative SoFlo Shows page with SoFlo Health and SoFlo Home Project there too. You'll also see this QRC on the ingredient list throughout the show. Now back to foods without a face. All right, everyone. Have you ever heard of Mapo tofu? Well, usually it has ground pork and chunks of tofu, and it's spicy and so delicious. Why not make it vegan? So I found this recipe, and it looked so good that I had to try it. And I found it interesting that they're using dried porcini mushrooms that are rehydrated in some water to give it, of course, you know, porcini mushrooms have amazing flavor, but also you get a really great texture with dried mushrooms that are rehydrated, as well as fresh mushrooms like I'm cooking here. So it starts out, we're cooking some button or field mushrooms with a tiny little bit of grapeseed oil until you see all this bubbling water. This is what I was just talking about before. And speaking of mushrooms, right here is the creamy polenta with the mushroom ragu. I think that came out really beautifully. So take a look at this. This is crazy because this mushroom, I had no liquid to this. Look how much bubbling liquid there is coming out of the mushroom. So what I'm waiting for is for that liquid to totally absorb, and then we will have a really great texture in a mushroom. This is like the perfect example. Let's get everything ready. So For the broth, we're going to combine a little bit of vegetable stock that's in here with a little bit of tamari, soy sauce that doesn't have gluten in it, and then a spicy bean paste is what the recipe asked for. So we are going to whisk those things together. Oh, it's thicker than I thought it would be. And it definitely looks spicy. So spicy bean paste as well goes in there. Okay. Mix that all together. This is some pretty chunky stuff. So make sure you want to break that down as much as you can in your liquids. And this just smells spicy. It smells really strong. And that chili oil is rather fragrant, which is my favorite part of Mapo tofu. So check it out. The water is still evaporating, but it's nearly there. Got a little cornstarch slurry right here for thickening. I'm going to take, so these mushrooms have been draining in like a little mesh strainer. You really want to squeeze, you see all that? You want to squeeze out as much as you can of the liquid. And what we're going to do is chop that up nice and fine. So obviously it's really tight, right? Which is great. You want to just slice these nice and thin. Now that these mushrooms have dried out, I'm going to go ahead and add the dried porcinis into the pan for the button mushrooms. Give them a little room to cook and sear in the same oil. You don't have to add any more oil to this. And let's go ahead and start the tofu side of things. So in this pan, add remaining grapeseed oil. Once this gets a little warm, let's go ahead and add some very finely minced ginger. If you don't feel like mincing it with a knife, you can always peel it and throw it on a little microplane. A little bit of garlic, minced. You don't want to get any color on that. Go ahead and add tofu. So you have choices for tofu, right? You can either add silken tofu, which is a little harder to deal with, but so delicious, or you can use soft tofu. Okay, once you add your tofu to the pan, go ahead and add this lovely mixture and get it good and hot. So we're gonna get that until like a medium high. These mushrooms, I can hear them. They're calling my name. They're telling me to move them around a little bit. They're just simple button mushrooms, but with the porcinis, it just gave it a more interesting fragrance. So good. All right, we're gonna cook those as long as we can before adding them in here because we want as much texture as possible. We have a little cornstarch slurry here. So a couple of spoonfuls of water to a spoonful of cornstarch. We're gonna add it in here and let that get nice and thick. And as soon as we see a little texture change, we're gonna add everything else to it. You see how, look, I wanna show you a little something to look for, okay? You see this? You see how when I do that, you see a little bit of the pan and it gives you like a minute until it starts covering up the steel again? That is what you're looking for. That shows viscosity. This has pretty much come together. We don't need to do much else. This tofu just had to heat through. You don't always have to cook tofu. All right, so I've got some brown rice here because we decided that this would go beautifully with brown rice. We're gonna add these delicious cooked mushrooms into the tofu, and that will be our pretend meat. Although I don't really like pretending. To me, it's just adding something more delicious. I'm gonna go ahead and shut this off because it is fully heated through. The mushrooms are cooked. This smells and looks so good. You have to be a little gentle with it because the tofu's gentle. So you have a choice. You can add either some fresh chives or some fresh scallions. I did both because I love them. Let's take a little spoon, serve ourselves. You know what? Let's save this for you for last. Yeah? Okay. Come right back to SoFlo Taste here on the one and only Local 10, the local station, and we'll see how this Mapo tofu turned out. I can't wait to taste it. Stay tuned to SoFlo Taste. We'll be right back. Welcome back to SoFlo Taste. We are serving our vegan vegan everything, but vegan Mapo tofu. One thing I totally forgot, you're supposed to drizzle just a tiny bit of sesame oil over the tofu before serving. And we have a little brown rice down. Let's go ahead and serve. You know, I really thought this was gonna be spicier, but I just tasted it and it's just like, it has the perfect amount of heat. And I mean heat by spiciness, not heat by temperature. It's definitely that. So this is really yummy. This is definitely gonna become part of the family dinners. There you go, Juan, enjoy. Well, Taste Buds, thank you so much for joining me today. Listen, give any of these recipes a try, because even if you like cheeseburgers every now and again, these are so good and they have such great flavor. I think they will become part of your repertoire. Well, Taste Buds, thank you so much for being with me today. I love our time together, and I'll see you here next week. Goodbye, mwah, and good taste. Living life on the veg.